Hello, welcome to this Computer Weekly video. I'm Brian Glick, I'm the Editor-in-Chief of Computer Weekly. And in this video, we're talking about data breaches. I'm sure you've all seen plenty of headlines, hopefully on Computer Weekly, perhaps elsewhere as well, about the number of high-profile data breaches affecting large companies recently. In particular, it's not just about those data breaches, but it's about what happens to that data after it's stolen and what can you do about it. Now, to help me answer some of those questions, I'm joined by Raj Samani. Raj is the Chief Technology Officer for Intel Security in Europe, and he's also a Special Advisor to Europol. So, Raj, set the scene for us a little bit here. We've heard about some of these high-profile data breaches, but what's going on here and why are these proving to be so significant?
It's like every morning, you pick up, I would say your newspaper, but that's 10 years ago, you kind of go onto your Twitter timeline and there's another company being breached. And the reality is most people turn around and say, well, that's for the IT function, or cyber is, or security is for the IT function, but it's not. And that really frustrates me because people turn around and say, well, we're not going to be hacked because we're too small. I mean, I had a CEO say that to me once, we're not going to be hacked, we're too small. And I said, well, you have been hacked and we've actually managed to identify stolen data from your company. This is actually impacting growth, economic growth for companies. I mean, look at this toy manufacturer. They've had 6 million children's records compromised at Christmas. Now, how many people aren't going to go and buy these toys? And it's regarded as being somewhere between 3 to 5%. After a data breach, there's this concept called the abnormal churn rate, where people are going to go, well, I don't trust you as a vendor anymore. I don't trust you as a company. So, cyber security or privacy, all of these things that we talk about is not for a very niche community. This is for every part of the business. This is about trust that your consumers or your customers have with you.
The existence of these data breaches is one thing, and we all hear about those, but what we hear a lot less about is what happens after them. What's happening to all this data that's getting stolen? Where's it going and who's using it?
In many cases, a lot of the data just comes up straight for sale. I mean, certainly payment card information goes straight on the black market for sale. Customer records go straight on the market for sale. We've even seen examples where criminals are selling direct access into compromised organizations, direct for sale. We found, actually, with the research we did, we found people were selling direct access into hydroelectric plants in France. I mean, that's quite worrying, right? Whole identities, people's identities being sold. Now, not all of it's going straight on the marketplace. I mean, to be honest with you, what worries me is I haven't seen medical data coming up at the same sort of veracity that we've seen personal data for sale. So criminals are basically ripping these places off and selling the data and making tons and tons of money out of it. I mean, huge amounts of money out of it.
Raj, you work with a lot of law enforcement authorities to try and help tackle some of these problems and to bring down some of the cyber criminals behind these attacks. What's going on in the law enforcement community and what are they doing to try and find some of the people who are behind these crimes?
I'm a really big fan of law enforcement. We do a lot of work with them. We've done partnerships with the NCA, EC3, as well as many others. We've led and taken down multiple botnets over the last couple of months, just in the last couple of months actually. But we're fighting a 21st century problem with 20th century tools. In other words, cybercrime doesn't respect boundaries. You can go out and do a campaign against somebody halfway around the world and it'll take you 10 seconds. Well, for us to be able to get support and at least sort of bilateral agreement will take months, if not years. So, EC3, the European Cybercrime Centre, to me is a shining light of international law enforcement collaboration with private sector involvement. And people say we're losing the battle, we're losing the war, but go and ask Ross Ulbricht if we're losing the war. He's sitting in jail right now. So this is modern crime. This is the way modern crime is going to continue. You don't rob banks with guns anymore. You go in with USB sticks or malware. The last ransomware campaign that we identified had made $325 million US. These are highly resourceful characters. So this is an issue that we need to combat, and it's not just law enforcement's job, it's private sector's job. And actually it's your job and your job actually as well. Because when we do all of this work and we provide remediation tools, you need to basically run that and remove malware from your systems. If you get ransomware, well, you should have backed up your data. Don't pay the criminals, you're just supporting crime. So these are the challenges that I think we face.
Law enforcement is one thing, and it's good that all that's going on, but it's also essentially reactive. They're responding after these data breaches have happened. What's happening in companies, and what do companies need to do better to try and prevent some of these things happening in the first place?
A lot of these breaches can be very simply avoided. Criminals are using commercial off-the-shelf tools to basically go out and do point-of-sale scraping. You know, like DarkPOS is a great example, but we knew about this. That could have been stopped. You know, I saw research the other day, I was tweeting about it, where the #1 form of malware detected in most network gateways is Conficker. Are you serious? It's 2008. 2008. We've known about this since 2008. There's been remediation since 2008. So, you know, the foundation of cybersecurity or cyber hygiene, you know, a large proportion of these could have been stopped. You know, like one of the breaches we were talking about earlier was just a basic SQL injection, which could have been stopped actually quite easily. So, you know, it's funny because we as an industry kind of look at the kind of really big and sexy hacks and, you know, real innovation and stuff, but a lot of it really is just basic cyber hygiene would have prevented a lot of these things.
You've talked there, Raj, about some of the things that companies need to be doing better, but what's stopping them from doing better? What are the challenges that they're facing, and how can they overcome those?
Yeah, but it's tough. I mean, it's really. I mean, you know, I used to be a CISO, right? You know, where we're not allowed to talk about it, but you know, I used to be a CISO, and it is hard. I mean, you know, how many assets do you have that are IP enabled? I mean, in your own home, how many devices do you have that are IP enabled? You know, do you get the ability to be able to shut down services to be able to apply an update? In most cases, probably not, you know? So it's, you know, you have to get everything right all of the time, and that makes life difficult. And I think, you know, we talked about the skills shortage and the skills gap. We asked companies, at what point will 80% of your IT, i.e. security, or all of your IT be hosted in the cloud? And actually within 16 months, most companies will have migrated all of their security, all of their IT to the cloud. And so, you know, I think, yes, the challenge is skills, but we're always going to have skill shortages. But that's why, you know, at Intel Security, we're pushing this cloud-first strategy. So, yes, you can still do stuff on-prem, but also now you have the ability to be able to run security off-prem as well. And so, you know, these are the challenges that we face. But I think as an industry, you know, they say there's no such thing as a silver bullet. I think there are silver bullets, but not every threat's a werewolf.
To sum up, Raj, without wishing to oversimplify the challenge here, and you know, you've talked about a number of different things that organisations need to do. But if you could pick one thing that you would say to an organisation that above all else they really should be doing in order to try and help minimise the risk of being a victim of a data breach, what do you think that might be? If
I look back at, you know, when we first started in this industry, you know, there was like maybe, I don't know, 5 to 10 books, and the ability for you to be able to get new information, new data points, you know, was really limited. And now it's the complete opposite. You know, we're getting 3 to 5 billion security events in our own system a day. You know, we have Twitter feeds and Twitter channels which are just flooding us with data. To me, I think the most important thing you need to do is start to get connected into some of these information sources, into these intelligence feeds. Start to look at things like contextualized threat intelligence. Start connecting with those resources that are going to give you the information to stay one step ahead. Today, the challenge isn't can we get better information or better intelligence. The challenge is we have so much information and so much intelligence. How can I filter out a lot of the noise? You know, stay connected with us. Honestly, you know, we're doing work with law enforcement. We're doing operations. We're releasing intelligence, research. We're doing stuff around, you know, next generation of threats. You know, stay connected to us because, you know, hopefully we're providing, well, not hopefully, but I believe we're providing information of real value to you as a business trying to protect yourself, but also for your career as well. You know, things that will be helpful for you to stay one step ahead. So, you know, stay connected and be up to date with the threats and the information that's happening.
Raj Samani, Chief Technology Officer for Intel Security in Europe. Thanks very much for coming along and joining us and sharing some of your experiences of data breaches, of the dark web and the hidden data economy. That's all we've got time for on this video. Hope you found some useful hints and tips in there to try and help you to understand the threat that you're facing and some of the ways that you can help to prevent data breaches at your organisation. Thanks for watching.